Welcome to BioNerds and Engineers, where biology meets engineering, exploring the journeys of scientists, engineers, CEOs, and innovators through expert conversations and deep dives into groundbreaking research. Subscribe now to stay ahead in the world of innovation, technology, and leadership. I'm Om.
And I'm Urvi. Today's explainer is covering a massive, and I mean massive, shift in the tech world. We're looking at the landscape of 2026, and we're not talking about fancy autocomplete tools anymore, right?
Not even close. We've crossed the threshold into autonomous software developers. We are dealing with agentic systems that can literally plan, reason, and execute complex goals entirely on their own. It's a completely new paradigm for engineering. Which brings us to the big hook for today's explainer. Is the traditional software engineer completely obsolete?
Because, for the past couple of years, everyone's been saying, oh, don't worry, AI will just augment human coders. It's just going to make us faster.
Right, that was the comforting narrative. But honestly, looking at the data and the emerging capabilities of these autonomous agents, we really have to challenge that old assumption. The blunt reality is we are moving from an era of human creators to an era of human curators.
And let's ground this in some hard numbers, because this is where it gets real. 1.8 million. According to labor market analysis from ESP data, that is the estimated number of entry-level IT and support jobs globally displaced by AI by 2026.
Yeah, that is a huge contraction. Setting that number right up front shows just how high the stakes are right now. This isn't just some theoretical lab debate about productivity anymore. This is a tangible, real-time transformation of the global workforce.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for the explainer today. We're going to hit the paradigm shift. Then we'll look under the hood at how multi-agent teams work. After that, the productivity paradox, who gets replaced, the EU AI Act deadline, and finally, the era of orchestration. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The paradigm shift from autocomplete to autonomous execution.
So fundamentally, we've crossed the line from humans manually typing out syntax to humans directing AI systems. If you contrast the old era with the new, traditional automation was all about fixed rules. And the problem there is it instantly crashes the moment it hits an exception. It's totally rigid.
Right, it's brittle. But the 2026 reality with AI agents planning is actually much more like a biological system adapting to its environment. It uses contextual reasoning. If these agents hit a roadblock, they don't just break. They actually perform real-time replanning. They're self-optimizing. They adapt dynamically to whatever the enterprise workflow is, making decisions based on context rather than just following some rigid script.
Moving on to Section 2, how multi-agent teams work, expanding task horizons. We are totally graduating from those simple single-prompt chatbots to coordinated agent teams, and the adoption rate is wild. According to JS Deliver's State of AI Agents report, 57% of organizations are already deploying agents for multi-stage workflows. Over half of businesses? That means they are trusting AI with complex end-to-end processes today. This isn't experimental beta stuff anymore. This is live, in-production enterprise deployment happening right now.
And what actually makes this possible from an architectural standpoint is the expansion of task horizons. It's called long-running execution. Early agents handled discrete tasks that took maybe a few minutes. Today, agents can read entire repositories, navigate symbols, and run shell commands over days at a time.
Urvi, the Rakuten example absolutely blows my mind. They used Claude Code to implement a complex extraction method across a massive open-source library. We're talking 12.5 million lines of code.
Yeah, huge scale.
And the AI finished the entire job autonomously in just 7 hours, with 99.9% accuracy. Tasks that used to demand weeks of human coordination are happening in a single workday. It's incredible.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the AI productivity paradox. Why more code isn't faster shipping? Because you have to ask, right? If these agents are so incredibly fast, why haven't software development cycles just shrunk to zero? To understand this paradox, elite engineering teams have completely changed how they measure output. They use a metric called complexity-adjusted throughput. See, an AI can generate 5 times more code per session, but raw lines of code is now a garbage metric. Complexity-adjusted throughput measures the actual usable value delivered to production. It strips away all the noise of bloated AI-generated code.
Exactly, because the bottleneck is staggering. It's literally like an enzyme bottleneck in a biological pathway. A massive linear B analysis of 8.1 million pull requests found that AI-generated code waits 4.6 times longer for review than human-written code.
4.6 times. That's crazy. The AI writes so fast that the human review process just completely grinds to a halt. So the generation is lightning fast, but the validation process is entirely offsetting those initial speed gains.
And here is the really messy reality check. We have 84% developer adoption, and 41% of all code is now AI generated. But code churn has spiked to 7.1%. Turns out, robots can write spaghetti code too.
They absolutely can. And a metric productivity study actually found that veteran developers are facing an 18% slowdown, which is wild.
Yeah, it's actively hindering their own complex work because they spend so much of their time just deciphering and fixing this messy AI-generated output.
Let's look at Section 4. Who gets replaced? The J-curve of labor market adjustment.
Economists call this the J-curve of labor market adjustment. It's where routine roles kind of vanish before the new roles fully mature. If we break down the data from ESP-Jada, we can see exactly who is in the dip. L1 tech support faces a massive 38% estimated displacement. Manual QA testing, junior front-end devs, and legacy sysadmins are all contracting.
Right, because from a systems perspective, AI is exceptionally good at taking over repetitive boilerplate tasks. If your job is completely rule-based, that's exactly what the agents are absorbing first.
Section 5. The EU AI Act deadline. The legal mandate for human oversight. Before we assume machines will just run everything completely unchecked, we have to look at the timeline. The EU AI Act has been rolling out in phases. Prohibited practices were enforced back in February 2025. General-purpose AI obligations kicked in during August 2025. But the absolute game changer is August 2, 2026. That is when the main enforcement for high-risk AI systems under Annex 3 becomes fully active. And look, because of the global nature of software, any company doing business in the EU simply must comply with this.
And what compliance actually looks like is pretty intense. You've got Article 11 demanding extensive technical documentation, Article 12 requiring immutable automatic logging, and Article 50 for transparency. But the absolute biggest one for software teams is Article 14, human oversight. This legally mandates a human-on-the-loop architecture. You have to have the ability to override or halt the AI. You cannot just let these agents run wild without human validation. And the stakes for getting this wrong? Crushing fines of up to 15 million euros or 3% of your global annual turnover.
Bringing us to Section 6, the era of orchestration, from hands-on keyboard to conducting. So if routine coding is automated and humans are legally required to oversee the system, what does the surviving software engineering role actually look like? It's a fundamental transformation. The obsolete implementer was completely focused on writing syntax, manual testing, fixing discrete bugs. The new orchestrator acts as the conductor. Their value is entirely in system architecture design, agent coordination, and strategic problem decomposition.
I love that analogy. The AI plays the instruments, but the human writes the melody.
To thrive here, engineers need an entirely new set of survival skills. Pure syntax memorization is out. Systems thinking, strategic oversight, and rigorous quality evaluation are in. You have to confidently validate the massive output these agents are producing.
And when you get this right, the results are staggering. There's this example from Augment Code, where an enterprise team used contextual AI agents to compress what was originally estimated as a 4 to 8 month project into just 2 weeks.
2 weeks! That is the actual power of a human orchestrator working perfectly in sync with an agentic team. Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for our explainer today. The traditional software engineer as a pure syntax typist may be fading, but the opportunity for the systems architect has never been greater. The tools are here, the agents are waiting for instructions, and the legal guardrails are set. So, are you ready to stop typing and start conducting?
Awesome way to put it. Thanks for tuning in to this explainer. If you enjoyed this, like, subscribe to BioNerds Engineers, and tell us in the comments what topic we should cover next. See you next time.